Hello students, welcome to my channel. Today we shall read a lesson Going Places of Class 12 English book Flamingo. The story revolves around a teenage girl Sophie, her family and friends. She is a daydreamer who is always lost in her dreams of becoming rich and sophisticated. Though in reality she and her family are workers at a biscuit factory. The story suddenly twists up when Sophie makes a wild imagination of meeting Danny Casey, a famous football player. She also makes a story in front of her brother that Casey will come to meet her on a fixed day as per a promise he made to her. Let's see the content. The story begins with a conversation between two teenage girls, Sophie and Jancy. Sophie lives in a world of imagination whereas Jancy is totally opposite to her. Sophie imagines of owning a boutique one day, a place where she can sell fashionable clothes. Jancy feels that it requires a lot of money to open a boutique. She also tells her that it will take her a long time to save that much amount. To this, Sophie replies that she will work as a manager and when she will save enough money, then will work on opening up a boutique. She is interrupted by Jancy as she tells her that nobody will hire her straight up to the managerial post. Sophie changes her plan and decides to be a fashion icon like Mary Quant. She also adds that she will have the best boutique shop that no one has ever seen in the city. Jancy is a realistic person. She knows that in reality they are just workers at a biscuit factory. On hearing Sophie's thoughts, she becomes sad. When they reach Sophie's street, Jancy tries to explain the reality of their life. She tells her that they don't receive much at the factory where they work. She also tells her that her dad would never allow her to do that. Sophie, on the other hand, is still lost in her dreams. She says that she can also be an actress as it would earn her a lot of money. She also wants to run a side business of boutique as she thinks that actresses don't work full time. When they reach home, Sophie enters into her house and closes the door. Jancy is left alone in the rain. Sophie is still murmuring the same sentence that if she will get money, she will buy a boutique. Someone in the house teaches her that if she ever has money, she would buy a decent house for her family. Sophie's father was eating a shepherd's pie. His face was unclean with dirt and sweat. Her younger brother Derek said to his father that Sophie thought that money grew on trees. He also felt that she was not realistic. Her mother, who was busy with her work, took a deep breath. Sophie noticed her working in the kitchen. Her mother had stooping shoulders that were bent forward. She had tied an apron on the back which was bent and not in the right shape. Maybe she looked so because of the heavy burden of work on her. It was turning dark and the house was full of steam and the kitchen was messed up with litter. Sophie felt uncomfortable, so she went up to her brother Geoff. Geoff was in the next room, sitting with bent knees on the carpet. He was repairing some part of his motorcycle. He was a trainee mechanic who had left his school 3 years ago. He had to travel long distance in search of work. Sophie was sometimes doubtful about his brother as he did not speak much about his life. Therefore, she always imagined about the way of life her brother led. She was so jealous of his silence because she wanted to know about the places that he used to visit. She thought that there would be some distant places of the city or maybe some countryside. All these thoughts were so captivating because they were far away from her reach. Sophie imagined her brother's personal life. She thought that her brother never spoke about his life, but maybe he knew some city people who were very interesting. Though she knew that her brother did not have many friends, still she felt that it was possible that he might have some special friends. So, sometimes she wished she could become close to her brother so that he would take her out with him. She knew that her father would never allow her to do so. Even her brother considered her not big enough to go outside. But she was growing impatient and wanted to go outside as she believed that she would be comfortable there just like in her own city. So, she imagined herself riding with Geoff. He wearing a shiny black jacket and she wearing a beautiful yellow dress with a stole flying behind her as they would ride his motorcycle. She dreamt that people stood up to welcome her by clapping when she rode with her brother. Her brother looked annoyed at the oily part of the motorcycle that he was handling. He was trying to make it work, but all his attempts were wasted. Sophie said that she met Danny Casey, a famous football player. Her brother suddenly looked at her and asked her where she met him. She said that she was in a gallery when she saw him. He did not believe her and asked if she told this to their father. She did not approve of her brother's question as she wanted to say that he must know that he is the one with whom she shared her secrets. So, she began her story that she was at Roy's boutique and was looking for some dresses when somebody came and stood behind her. She turned and found him to be Danny Casey. Her brother asked her about his appearance. She told him that he had green-colored gentle eyes and was not as tall as she thought him to be. While both brother and sister were in their conversation, their father entered the room. He looked clean and shiny as he had taken bath. He switched on his television and sat on his chair after shifting Derek's shoe from his chair to the sofa. As he sat in his chair, Geoff told him that Sophie had met Danny Casey. On hearing this, he turned towards Sophie. He looked at her scornfully because he could not believe her. Geoff clarified it to be true. The father then told them that he once knew a man who had known Tom Finney a long time ago. Tom Finney was a legendary footballer. He took his name with great respect. Geoff agreed their father had told him this earlier. They were discussing football players. Father said that he thought that one day Casey might become as good as Finney. Someone among Geoff and Sophie replied that Casey was better as he was very talented, but their father did not agree. He said that he was very young and as there were so many diversions for a young footballer, he might work hard. Geoff did not agree and said that he was with a best team and the best player too. Meanwhile, Sophie told them that Casey was going to buy a new shop. Her father looked at her angrily and asked her where did she get to know this. He doubted it to be one of her imagination. Her brother interrupted and said that she met him. Her father warned her that such things could lead her to trouble. She then tried to justify herself by saying that Geoff knew this and trusted her. Her father replied that he did not believe her, although he wanted to. Geoff's room was full of pictures of footballers. There was a picture of Casey, also, who has been described as a young Irishman with exceptional qualities. Sophie told her brother another secret of her, but on a condition that he would not tell this to their dad. His brother did not want to believe her but listened to her because of her undue stress. She then told him that when she met him, it was she who started the conversation by asking him whether he was Danny Casey. She also asked for an autograph for little Derek, but as both of them did not have any pen or paper, he promised to give it in their next meeting. Her brother did not believe this as he was doubtful of what she was saying. So, he picked up his jacket and left. Sophie wondered if her brother did not care about his looks much, though he should be doing so because he was tall and handsome. My dear students, watch the second part to understand the complete story. Thank you for watching. For more, like, share and subscribe.